before I really get into, can I first acknowledge the Whadjuk Noongar people as traditional custodians of the lands upon which our homes stand, and we pay respects to elders past, present, and emerging. If you visit the Delphis office in Victoria Park, at our reception we have a painting created by local artist Clinton Bienduri that illustrates our values using traditional and contemporary Aboriginal art symbols. So this is a photo of Clifton in there, and I've been in touch with him virtually as well. It's quite interesting. So he has actually explained to me what these symbols are, because I love Aboriginal art, but I don't have enough knowledge to learn about these symbols. So if I may share with you, the first value we have on the left is safety and well-being, and that is represented by people gathering around a sand dune. Would you have guessed? Then the second one, integrity, is represented by Pilrir, which means spirit or soul. And the third one, achievement, is that symbol is an hair belt used in ceremonies to gather people for traditional lore. The fourth one, teamwork, that's a representation of people gathering together for consolidating knowledge. And the last one, which I never guessed, loyalty, that represents a wooden ball or a kulaman.
Oh, Carla, you need to share your screen again. Sorry to interrupt.
Yes, sorry, what's wrong?
You're not sharing your screen.
I'm not? For that. And this is what I was trying to explain. So just listening to it, yeah, I was trying to explain what these symbols are for our values in this painting that we have at the reception, the entrance of the Delphis building in Vic Park, that represent our values: safety and well-being, integrity, achievement, teamwork, and loyalty. So I was covering the last one. Do you know what that is, the loyalty symbol? I don't know if anyone knows a little bit of Aboriginal art and symbols. That's a wooden ball or a kulaman used to collect water or other food, or even sometimes used for small babies to sleep. So yeah, I was very interested. I like all these things. So anyway, let's go then to innovation. With a special focus on Delphis and the work myself and my team have been doing there. But these principles and the things I'm going to talk about today are really can be applied to any industry and any type of organization, I believe. So a little bit of Delphis, if I may, because I understand some people are very familiar with the company, but some are new to the country, so they may not know. Delphis is a leading Australian engineering group providing construction, maintenance, and industrial services to the resources, energy, and infrastructure sectors. We are involved in some of Australia's biggest and most complex projects and facilities, reflecting our position as a leader in our chosen markets. We employ approximately 6,000 people with major offices in WA in Perth and in Queensland, Brisbane, supporting our operations in projects, facilities, and workshops across Australia, Papua New Guinea, and China. We recently expanded to Chile, Latin America, so that has been really good to have some Spanish speakers around, so I could practice my Spanish a little bit. I'm Portuguese, for the ones who are wondering where my accent comes from. The others that know me already know that. My husband is German, that's why I have that weird family name. Good. Innovation. is more than a buzzword. I don't like when people come, Carla, innovation is a buzzword. No, it's not. It's more than a buzzword. It is commercially critical. It helps organizations to grow during boom times and can also help these organizations to stay alive in tough times. In this century, 21st century, almost every organization accepts the business imperative to innovate. So at Delphis, we have spent many years working on hundreds of innovation projects with some of the largest mining and oil and gas organizations. So it's not a secret. Our clients in mining are companies like BHP and Rio Tinto, and in oil and gas, Woodside and Impex, which are major players in these markets. So we've rolled our sleeves up and worked late on incremental innovation projects and continuous improvement initiatives. We have had a unique and privileged perspective on innovation, working across so many customer sites and in so many countries. I'll give you some examples. I have a little video here of some of our implemented innovations. This video has no sound, so I'll talk through it. Let's see how it goes. Yeah, this is our inspection robot, which we call the Prospector, that has been developed internally from scratch. And I have a little video I'll pass on at the end explaining more about the inspection robot. It uses a laser scanner to inspect the skirt liners in shafts, in conveyor belts, in mines. Using this robot, inspection time has been reduced from 20 hours to 30 minutes. Yeah, there is no need to have anyone physically working on the conveyor anymore. This is the robotic manufacturing. These technologies are being used at our fabrication facilities in China, specifically being used in the manufacture of wellhead skids. And then another example is this automated tank blasting unit, which is being used for abrasive blasting and surface preparation works. It is controlled from up to 30 meters away, removing proximity from work front. It is self-contained, and therefore material is not released to the surrounding environment and noise levels are reduced. It is 3 times faster than traditional methods. So, short summary of some of our innovations. We have a lot more. We have entire databases with hundreds of things we have been doing. Yeah, so what is behind successful innovation? Anyone wants to have a go, if that's possible? What do you think makes innovation successful in an organization? No one? I continue. In my belief and research I've done and reading books and documents and papers and articles from other experts and researchers in this field, and they abound all over the world. It is the confluence of these 3 forces to me that is what is behind successful innovation. An individual's attitude, a group's behavior dynamics, and the support an organization provides. So in a nutshell, these are the things I see for successful innovation. But, you know, at its heart, it's all about people. We all have heard this before. And it's true. There is, we all know that it's people, not processes, that make things happen. Delphis is pretty good at getting the most out of the human energy. I think that's the success of the company. The day-to-day grind doesn't have to sap energy. It can actually create it. So innovation energy is the force generated when a team works with the right attitude and behaviors in an organization structure to help make things happen. That's the way I look at it. Yeah, this was pre-COVID photos, right? Energy doesn't just happen. Think about what gets you fired up. Is it your favorite footy team, playing with your children, having a cause to fight for? Life without the right stimulus leaves you sluggish and lethargic, and I think we have been through a lot of that in the last weeks. So managing energy innovation is the difference between innovation success or failure. The fact is that innovation requires us to think very nimbly about our jobs, about what we do with our time. Do we have time to think? Not everyone in organizations skips into work with a nimble mindset. We all know that cynics lurk in every business unit, and innovation needs people with the right attitude, or at least others to be neutral. At Delphis, we are conscious that people who can make a difference to our innovation portfolio are people that are at heart motivated by wanting to do something good, to leave a mark, to be recognized as a key part of a team. So it's intrinsic. We engage with people on a personal level. This means making sure that each individual in the organization has their own aha moment. And there are techniques to collect then these aha moments, these ideas, and idea management and idea capture is something that we invest a lot. And in my role, a significant part of my time has been around that. We are successful at innovation because we manage to tap into people's innate desire to be part of something bigger. We make coming to work worthwhile. The most useful innovation behaviors, I have identified 4. Freshness, greenhousing, realness, and bravery. What is this about freshness? Trying new stuff out. Who doesn't like to try new stuff, even if you're a foodie, new foods or new places? Or the same goes with innovation, trying that freshness, trying new things. Greenhousing, in the sense of building an idea through collaboration. Collaboration is essential in innovation. I don't think you can innovate without collaborating internally or externally, but yeah. Realness, quickly making an idea into the form a customer will buy it as. There is no point in us having great ideas and then the customer is like, yeah, what for? I don't see any interest. So that happens frequently. Yeah, it has to be real. It has to be something that will add value to the customer, and we need to keep that in mind in what we do. And bravery, having the guts to disagree. It's tough, you know, but we need to do it, and we need to find our voice to say and propose new ways of doing things. And sometimes that can actually be a barrier to people sharing their ideas, but something to work on. So for examples, yeah, innovation needs what's okay and what's not okay to be very clearly articulated. Once this happens, organizations begin to create its own source of energy that is almost impossible for any competitor to steal or replicate. And yeah, again, at Delphis, we strongly believe that innovation is our competitive advantage. And yeah, there are a number of contractors out there, and our customers keep coming back to us. And we believe definitely innovation is a differentiator from our competitors. A little bit of an analogy here. It is vital that Delphis supports and directs innovation. If you are alone, if you don't have support, you don't have, so it's fundamental to support. The most innovative companies are organized, this goes back to my hydraulics days, like a river with a clear path that flows much faster than one full of obstacles and tributaries. You can imagine the river, and with the river, you know, with obstacles, then the waters go. They have simple and focused structures and processes that are there to free people not to get in the way. There are many ways to block and unblock the river, to add obstacles or remove these obstacles, and this can be rewards. At Monadelphis we use lots of innovation awards. We have monthly awards, yearly awards, safety innovation awards, so that's a way of promoting it, though this is more extrinsic motivation, when the real focus should be intrinsic. Resources, communication, flexible processes, environment, and leadership. These things employees need to make innovation happen, I think. Leadership is essential to our ability to innovate, whether Monadelphis or any other company. The leaders need to have the ambition, share in the purpose, and role model the desired behaviors. It is up to us to keep the innovation energy flowing. If a leader says, I don't have time for innovation, I'm pretty sure no one in his or her team is gonna find the time. So as a leader, you need to be very aware of what you say and what messages you're passing. Yeah. The best leaders have focus and, crucially, enable their people to focus. If you try to focus on too many things, you'll get very little success with any of them. By its very nature, innovation needs a lot of space around it. It needs a lot of unscheduled time, because you just never know where an idea is going or how much time you need to put behind it. So if your diary is absolutely jam-packed with things to do, and so many of us have calendars like that, back-to-back meetings and this and that, then you'll never be able to innovate and never be able to be truly creative. Great leadership is as much about honesty and humility as it is about focus and inspiration. Innovation energy is the power behind productive change, I believe. It can mean the difference between innovating successfully or running out of steam. Innovation energy can be generated, it can be harnessed and managed by engendering the right attitude, behaviors, and structures within your organization. Get it right and you create a stimulating, productive, fun place to work. And yeah, I like to think that's what I've been doing with my team. In this photo, we have Ruvan Muthukrishnan. He's a young mechatronics engineer, very smart, and yeah, we have to use our innovation energy to attract, retain, and get the most of smart people like Ruvan. And is really the father of the inspection, the creator of the inspection robot. And this robot has won various awards internally. It has had great response with our customers. And for example, we were also finalists with the Australian Institute of Management WA Pinnacle Awards this year. And it's not that we're hunting for awards, but it's gratifying, and it's good, I think, to see our work recognized. Tessa, I have a little video, 4 minutes and a half, about explaining a little bit about the inspection robot and how we go about innovation at Monadelphis. It was professionally done. Our marketing team has done a really good job in this. So I'd like to share with you today.
All right, am I up? All right.
We've invented something here. We've really invented something new to the industry. This is going to change the game in the way that we go about this particular task. The leading cause of premature belt wear in most bulk handling situations, especially iron ore, that's very abrasive, is skirt wear. We change belts here prematurely just because they're worn out because of a faulty set of skirts. One of the guys on the team here had the crazy idea, hey, why don't we mount the camera on a remote control buggy, send it up the skirts and see if we can see what's going on in there. We trialled it, we had a camera, we got a little remote control car, we sent it on its way and it worked. It didn't really give us what we needed or what we were hoping for, but that was the birth of what is now a completed robot that does perfectly what we need to do. We then moved on to how can we actually measure this gap precisely. We had actually no idea how to do that. We're a maintenance team, we have big tools and we do big things, a lot of great skills, but we didn't have the very technical expertise to even consider what our options were. So that was our link down to the innovations team in Perth. We've got a really talented team of engineers of various disciplines down there. They started troubleshooting the problem, looking on the market, what's available, and then we started talking about lasers.
The video footage that we gained from the first run was quite encouraging to the team to pursue the opportunity further. We weren't able to see the gap, but for the first time we were able to see the inside of the skirt situation. We found a 2D laser company in New South Wales that were able to measure gaps down to sub-millimetre scale.
The next challenge was to marry those gap measurements into a specific place on the skirt section. That's when the linear encoder came about, so that at any point in time, the robot knew where it was in relation to the reading that the laser was providing it.
We're currently building the 4th version of the inspection robot. Each iteration has brought changes in terms of its durability, its ability to easily be deployed and packed up by the operator. We've had various different lighting and camera and connection setups. Our laser has stayed consistent throughout the time. We're quite happy with that. And each iteration we get feedback from site as well as some of our key clients on what they want to see and what they want to see improved in the next version. At all levels of Delphis, the idea of the inspection robot has been well supported. We've had funding from our senior leaders as well as support from our teams on the ground to provide us the guidance that we needed to deliver the inspection robot to the standard that it's at today.
What drives my team is what I call the innovation energy. Innovation is really an imperative in the 21st century. My team are really committed to achieve the results, form at their roles, so they bring that energy to problem solving and to collaborating with each other to make things happen.
It's important for us to incorporate innovation into our strategy so that we've got a very clear long-term plan as a business on how we're going to grow, how we're going to work with our customers and offer them what they're really looking for. Innovation sets us apart from our competitors. That's our aim, and that's why we invest heavily. That's why we have large teams, many experts working on different elements across our business. And the key, I think, is understanding our clients' operations, understanding their problems and working with them to help find solutions. And that's exactly what we've done with the inspection robot.
Innovation is a very important part of our industry, and it's a very important part of what we do at Delphis, because we want to be industry leaders in our field. We want to be leading the way, not following the way, to challenge the way that things have always been done.
Can you see my screen? Yeah, okay. Good. So yeah, that was it really. The things I would like to touch. So I talked a little bit, showed some examples of what we do and the video, and happy to answer any questions. Have some discussion, hear your thoughts. That would be the next stage.
If you have a question, just type Q in the chat and I'll unmute you so you can participate.
Thank you.
David, is that a Q or just a smile? Pramila, go. Over to you.
Thank you. That was a really good presentation. Thank you for sharing that.
Thank you.
I just had a question when you were speaking about leadership and back-to-back meetings. I find that as you get more senior, you kind of tied up more in back-to-back meetings. Do you have any strategies or ideas of how you manage to stop or get around that?
Yeah, it's tough, isn't it? Yeah, in extreme situations, then start blocking time in the calendar, really. Yeah, block it regularly or as according to your needs. So you find the time to breathe and concentrate and think. Yeah, if you're always back-to-back meetings all day long, then it's not at the end of the day when you're tired that the ideas are going. So that's you know, in extreme situations when you reach to that. But it's really about time management and meeting management, you know, this goes back to effective meetings and the frequency of meetings. So maybe reconsider why we're having this meeting. Do we really need this meeting this often? All these people need to be in, you know, regularly ask yourself and your team about the reason of these meetings, and yeah, don't hesitate in reducing the time, the duration of the meetings, and the frequency. For example, with my team, I was only having a team meeting with everybody on a fortnightly basis and for 1.5 hours max. So the way I went about it, I prepared the slides and what information I expected from them, and nothing more, nothing less. And so the secret is preparation. So they had to prepare those slides, think about, and then during the meeting present about that. That is what matters to the team and to keep going. Yeah, the other teams were meeting on a weekly basis and 3 hours each time. So and I was like, no, that's not gonna happen with my team. So yeah, if everyone prepares and is on time, finished on time, we have a clear agenda, we agree on the actions, and then later we might share an email with a summary of the actions. You know, try to find ways to reduce that meeting time, to use it for better things like generating energy, innovation energy for innovation projects.
Okay, we'll go to Anthony King, and then Sylvia, I see your hand up there, so we'll go to you after Anthony. Over to you.
G'day, yeah, Anthony King. I'm from Promcorp, based in Melbourne. I noticed in the commercial it mentioned that it's actually innovation team that people send in requests, and an innovation team that works on these problems. I'm actually keen to understand, how does that work I guess within the organization, like what's the business case of having a dedicated innovation team, and how is that, like, how is that sustainable within the business?
Yes, yeah, lots of questions in one question. Yeah, for us, innovation, as I was mentioning before, is really seen as a competitive advantage. And we have a word at Delphis that it means a lot to us, which is stickiness. So we want to stick with our clients, with our customers. And what's the best way of doing that? By bringing innovation to our customers. So innovation can bring value financially, but also in terms of safety or environmentally. There are a number of reasons why you would implement a new idea. So yeah, each case is a different case, yeah, so it's something that is highly valued and recognized within the organization. Yeah, so we are contractors. At the end of the day, we have to win tenders, and also our customers are requesting for innovation in those tenders. So we need to show that we're able to innovate. Yeah, a little bit more of innovation in Delphis. So Delphis is divided in two big divisions. One is engineering and construction, and the other is maintenance and industrial services. I'm the innovation manager for maintenance and industrial service, and I have another colleague for engineering and construction. If you see the size of the business, maintenance and industrial services, $1 billion revenue. And engineering and construction 0.4 billion, so 400 million. We're talking big projects, big business. So if you look at the proportion of things, it's even, in my opinion, a small team who should be even more doing more things. And I hope we will grow. Yeah.
Cool. All right, over to you, Sylvia, and then we'll go to Brian.
Thank you, Carla, for this wonderful presentation and very clearly explained. And I'm curious to know, you were before or previously in another role where innovation is key, which is the academia. So I'm curious to know what are the differences or the similarities between innovation in the industry, as now in a management role, and in academia as a supervisor.
Yeah, it's very different. Actually, I almost find it hard to compare or to find things that work the same way in these two different worlds. In academia, if you want to innovate, you don't have money to start with. So you really need to start applying for grants and funds, and the success rate is 20%. So you're putting all that effort and time and sharing your knowledge and your ideas with very little probability of succeeding. The collaboration between universities or academia and industry is also very small as well. So the probability of getting funding from industry is also low. So it's hard work, and you know, I have lots of respect by my academic colleagues who succeed, because you really have to commit your heart and soul to be able to even get started, to get some funding. I see, you know, in the last years I've been in Australia, I see more support from government and more effort towards innovation, more programs, also innovation awards and programs supporting innovators. That's really good to see. So I've seen some growth, but yeah, it's still hard work. In industry, industry, the money is there, but you need to write a business case and you need to prove the value of your idea of your project. But the number of people and the number of institutions you have to deal is a lot smaller. Basically, you need to talk with your boss or or a few other managers to be able to get funding. So it's a lot less bureaucratic and faster. So the difference then in industry, you're expected to give results faster as well, and perhaps less tolerance for failure. And that's a big discussion about allowing failure around the innovation space. But yeah, there's still room for improvement in that space. So there is a bit of underwritten pressure to succeed for your ideas and your projects to succeed. In both academia or industry is hard work. And but you know, I really think it's worth it.
Thank you, Carla.
Hi, Carla, it's Brian.
Hello.
Thank you very much for your excellent presentation. Really, really good. You've somewhat answered the question a little bit already, I think, when you gave an answer to Anthony. But when you're talking about measuring the effectiveness of an innovation team, what sort of KPIs would you say people put on you? It clearly can't be dollars and cents necessarily, but they presumably tried to measure your contribution to, I don't know, winning contracts or doing contracts more efficiently or something of that nature.
Yes, it's hard to measure, and we do have some internal KPIs that we renew and review as we progress and as we grow and as we become more mature. So the KPIs a few years ago are different than the KPIs we have now. I think a few years ago it was really about capturing ideas, and the KPIs were like, we want every team to submit at least 3 ideas per week. Without really focusing too much on the quality of the ideas, but rather on the quantity. So, but that was a way of getting started and getting people to think of innovation and start using the systems to enter their ideas. So as we became more mature, the KPIs have changed, and obviously there is a stronger focus on the quality of these ideas. So we have a number of criteria that we use to evaluate the ideas that come in, and we have invested in idea management systems to decide on progressing those ideas or not. So yeah, it became a bit more complex, and yeah, once we have established this criteria, the idea is to have a routine where we review these ideas, evaluate them, and then if we decide to progress with them, create business cases for them. And then if they are successful, we generate the projects and get the funding for these ideas to progress. It doesn't necessarily mean it's the innovation team who's going to run these projects or manage these projects, but the innovation team is there to support in this process. And back to not having time, so that's feedback we get because we look for ideas particularly from our blue-collar workers, and frequently they tell us they don't have time to write business cases or to do any of that. So we are there to support them in succeeding. So they are the ones who are actually on site and deal with the problems and can bring those ideas. So we have to support them.
Brilliant. Thank you, Carla. Much appreciated.
Who's next?
G'day, Carla. It's Anthony King again. I have a question for the robot actually. So I said in the commercial, it's gone through a few iterations, and you're doing laser scanning along the surface, the surfaces of this. I can't remember what you called it, but it basically was a
The
tunnel.
prospector.
Yeah, the prospect, and so you're using laser scanning alignment, but the robot is now actually detecting where it is in real space for where that is. So I guess my question is, what sort of challenges did you have to overcome? Because it sounds like that you're using this as almost like a remote input to a digital twin. And I guess I'm very keen to understand a bit more around the problems that you overcame there, in how that you have a mobile machine that can update and know exactly where it is in real space. Yeah.
Yeah, I wish I could help you more on that. Normally I have Ruben with me, who is our mechatronics engineer, and this is really his creation, and is the brain behind everything. We have a provisional patent for this robot, and we are in the process of applying for a patent for this. So yeah. We have 4 versions of the robot. The first version was really just a camera on top of a little 4-wheel moving vehicle, yeah, then there were limitations with size, with weight, with safety matters on site, with carrying it, and a number of issues, and then the laser camera. Finally, the decision was to import a relatively expensive camera from Germany that would help giving the right results. And then all the software and everything was built in-house. So Ruben is also a software engineer, so he created all of this in-house. Yeah. I can get you in contact, and he can surely give you all the technical details and the detailed history of the robot. My involvement has been really on the customer engagement and on product development, the patent. I'm talking now with other possible customers because we have expanded to Chile. We're gonna take the robot to Chile as well. So that's the kind of things I've been involved with, the technical aspects, the connections, it has been Ruben. And if you saw in the video, there was a young lady as well, Eleanor. She's also a mechatronics engineer, very competent, and the 2 of them are really making things work.
Excellent. I'll definitely take you up on that. I'll offer to get in touch with Ruben and have a super nerdy conversation.
Yeah. And we frequently invite people to our offices to have a look at the robots, and we show exactly how it works and so on.
Excellent. I'll take that as an open invitation. Thank you.
No worries. Done. Connect on LinkedIn if you're not.
Yeah. No worries.
I'm a very big LinkedIn user, so anytime, we're happy to show it. We presented at the Automation and Robotics Conference in February, and it was very well received as well. The beauty of this robot is that it was created to solve a clear problem that our customer had. It wasn't like we had this idea of creating robots and then created and then started selling them. No, it was exactly the opposite. It was something that our customer didn't know how to go about it, and that was something that Delphis could bring in that no one else can. So we are not willing to mass produce them or anything like that. Is very customer centric, let's say.
Thank you for your answer.
All right, it looks like I missed one. How does your team hunt for opportunities? You'd still like to ask that?
Sorry, opportunities of what? I didn't. Can you repeat, Tessa?
How does your team hunt for opportunities?
How does the team offer opportunities?
Or hunt for opportunities.
How we hunt for opportunities. Well, it goes both ways. Sometimes we hunt, sometimes we are hunted. So so my job as innovation manager and the team as well, all the people working in innovation. So how we hunt. So we frequently meet with the people that work on site. We go on site as well. We do little innovation roadshows, and we're always trying to promote innovation. And yeah, it's not that difficult to identify the innovators within our business, the ones who have ideas, and really our job is making them feel comfortable and that they will be valued and rewarded for sharing these ideas. That's what we do. So it's building this relationship between our engineers and the site people. So yeah, that's how we hunt internally. Again, these innovators we have within the business, they have lots of ideas, so they call us all the time, and we have to analyze and evaluate if it's worth progressing or not, and give the feedback to the people. So that's a part of the work that we do internally. Another part, we go out or vendors come in. So we are always scouring and scanning for new ideas from the outside world that we can bring in. So we frequently invite vendors to show us their new products. We try to, as much as possible, attend conferences, events, you know, the startups, get connected, so we know what's happening, and we're always looking for ideas to bring into the business. So yeah, we try to generate our own, but we also look to what's out there. So in Perth, Australia, internationally. So some of my team members traveled to Houston and to America last year to also learn what was happening in there. So we're very active on that front as well.
Thank you for that. So does anyone else have any questions for Carla?
I think Sylvia is showing her hand.
Unmute, Maya. Can I ask another question, a follow-up? So I understand that you believe that technology is important in the construction and maintenance industry going forward. I also understand the positive impact that it has in time and effort and even safety and protection. I wonder how that technology, by replacing people, is accepted in real world, in social, and what is the social responsibility of the company in transferring people's ex-employees or people who could potentially be employed previously into other areas of society. And so how does that get involved in our business model?
You're talking about the impact of automation and robotics. Yes. So I believe, and most people in this industry believe, it won't replace the maintenance workers. On the other way around, it will help them to be more effective and productive in their jobs. That's the view. So we're always looking for new technologies, and for example, now new headsets, the Google glasses, the using mobile devices, is using robots. What is out there that can help the maintainer do a better job? So yeah, it's yeah, what happens though, it can happen that automating certain jobs will remove the need for a certain maintainer. So what we do, Westrack as a training center, an internal training center, and we try to reskill and retrain our employees as much as possible. So some employees, we classify them as a gray collar because they are not blue collar as such anymore, but they're not white collars either. So it's these retrained workers that we have. So for example, they would be very hands-on or doing some jobs that could even be risky. And if those jobs don't exist anymore, we try to use them, for example, using specific databases or using maintenance systems, or yeah, there is an effort in that front. So I don't think there's lack of work in this space. And what has happened, particularly in mining, you have seen that operations has changed dramatically, I'd say. So now with these remote operations centers and so on, it is possible to automate operations, but maintenance, maintenance hasn't changed in many years, and you still didn't need the maintainer on site. So operations has changed a lot, but maintenance not so much. Yeah.
Well, I often say that it's not the technology this is replacing people, it's people who are doing technology jobs.
Yes, agree.
So, but it still, there is a difference between reality and perception. And I wonder and worried how the technology is perceived more than actually the fact that what the role might be.
Yes, I think there was some fear of automation, some real fear a few years ago. I remember when I was working with the WA School of Mines, I received phone calls from the Pilbara radio and from journalists, and because I was writing about automation in mining and so on, and they read my papers, and they were asking, what about the jobs? What about the jobs? And you know, and I've explained what I've explained before. I don't think it will replace, it will just change. And if we don't automate really, then the industry suffers, and then that's when we really lose the jobs. But that was a few years ago. I think people have understood the value of automation, and there is still a fear in there, but not what it used to be. If you remember, train drivers, they were panicking because they were going to lose their jobs, but mining companies somehow managed to retrain them or to reskill and now we have autonomous trains in the Pilbaras, the biggest robots in the world, and you know, you don't see train drivers screaming around that they've lost their jobs. So if things are well thought and planned, and there is a transition plan, we can all succeed in modernizing these industries.
Thank you, Carla.
Thank you, Carla. Unless anyone else has any questions, do you have anything else you'd like to say before we wrap up?
What do I have to say? Thank you very much, you know, for listening to me, for your engaging questions. And as I've mentioned before, I'm a big LinkedIn user. That's probably the best way to reach. So if you haven't connected with me, please do so. And you know, happy to show you more things, to show our painting at our reception as well as the inspection robots, and introduce you to the team and the company. So our doors are open.
Thank you.
And thank you, Tessa, for inviting me. That has been really enjoyable.
Thank you very much for coming and joining us today. This was a really fun, this went so fast.
I'm glad. That's a good sign.
So traditionally I would call for a round of applause, but we can all do one of these.
Or do the reaction.
That's good. Thank you very much, and see you maybe next time. We'll see face to face, isn't it? And have some drinks.